Amsterdam has always been one of my dream locations for having a vacation. I don't really know when it started, but since forever ago, I've had this romanticized idea about the city, and luckily, just last week, I had a chance to go explore it over my spring break, and I'm not the biggest fan of overly touristy things, so we're not going to be addressing like Red Light District, Jordan, and like the museums and stuff in this video. Instead, I'm going to be talking about 6 ways that enhanced my exploration of the city that you can take advantage of yourself. First things first, Amsterdam is split up kind of into 5 different sections with Amsterdam Central, or like the downtown area, and then Amsterdam Noord, Oost, Zuid, and West. And upon seeing this, I decided to instead have a checklist of things that I wanted to do in the city, and then I would split up my vacation, which was about 6 days, 7 days, and I would split the days to explore it section by section. Obviously, some sections took longer than other sections to completely explore because they'll have more stuff to do. For instance, Central Amsterdam, you'll have a bunch of like the touristy things that you should still check out. And so that took multiple days to cover, but you can split it up that way. I wasn't the biggest fan of Amsterdam Central just because I'm not like overly elated about touristy things, and it was really like bustly and busy. However, there is a district called De Pijp, which was really fun. Take a stop by this cafe called Little Collins, get yourself some brunch, and then right next to it is the Albert Cuyp Street Market, which is famous for being one of the largest street markets, if not the largest street market in the world. It goes for miles and miles, and I accidentally stumbled upon it upon going to this cafe. So Little Collins and De Pijp, really good. You should go check it out. Number 2, visit the parks. Amsterdam offers a lot of beautiful parks that you can stroll through at your leisure, and offers just some nice downtime and honestly, nice points of interest. It kind of goes in cohesion with the different districts if you're visiting it district by district, because there's usually one major park per district. Amsterdam Noord has Noordster Park, Amsterdam Oost has Ooster Park, Amsterdam Central has kind of Vondel Park, which is near the museums like the Rijksmuseum, the Mako Museum, and Amsterdam West has like Rembrandt Park. Or you could visit Martin Luther King Jr. Park, which is somewhere near Amsterdam South. And that was actually the first thing that I did when I got to Amsterdam. Was I got to my hotel room, looked at my phone, and I noticed that there was an MLK park, and I just had to go check it out in the middle of the night. So I walked over there, and what do you know, it's just a park with an MLK statue. So sure to go check that one out. My favorite park of the bunch though is Ooster Park. It was actually a recommendation from a friend who we'll get into later. And a lot of the parks actually serve as hubs that you can go to, and there'll be a bunch of things of interest around these parks, like places to eat, places to get coffee and stuff, just nice places to walk around in general. Number 3, go to the bars and talk to the locals. The locals are gonna know what's best to go and visit, and without needing to bump into touristy stuff, if that is what you want to do with your vacation in Amsterdam. I'm not the biggest bar guy. That's just not my scene. I suck at clubbing and I suck at bar hopping. I haven't really done much of it, but I did stumble upon this jazz bar cafe called Jazz Cafe also. Really fun spot just to go see some live jazz. I think they've had live jazz every night for about 300 or so nights in a row. Really nice spot. Service was great, and that's where I met 2 dudes named Tommy and Frankie who were college students. Well, one of them was a college student studying for his PhD in the area. He gave me a bunch of recommendations that basically defined the entire trip for me because they were really good recommendations. Another spot that you can go visit is the Sound Garden, which is another music-focused like cafe. Mind you, cafes in Amsterdam, kind of like the pubs. They serve coffee in the morning, alcohol at night. Kind of a cool concept. I like it. But it's kind of what made Amsterdam Oost my favorite section, is because you kind of get away from the touristy stuff, but there's still a lot of stuff to do, and you can bike around a lot in that district, which we'll also get to later. Amsterdam Oost, go check it out. Tommy was also a great source for finding food. Amsterdam, I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of trouble finding good food. It's not that good food isn't there, it's just I can walk 20 or so blocks in San Francisco and some restaurant is gonna make my mouth water, whereas in Amsterdam, that just wasn't the case. I don't know maybe why, but that just wasn't the case. If the Dutch had colonized that section of the world, the food is probably gonna be good. As Tommy says, colonialism, bad for politics, good for food. Number 4, a cafe tour. So coffee lovers, this one's for you. There are these things called third wave generation or third generation coffee shops, which basically is just a coffee shop that really cares about the quality of the coffee, the origin of the bean, how they roast it. And there's a website, I think, called Europe Coffee Trip, www.europecoffeetrip. I'll put the link in the description below. They can go check out, and you can see third wave generation coffee shops in the city that you're visiting. I met up with my friend in Amsterdam while he was doing study abroad, and he was actually doing that for a bunch of other cities and was working. So we decided to do that with Amsterdam, and that's where I got this cool pullover sweatshirt, which was from the Screaming Bean Roastery, which was a really nice place. The guy was like really hospitable, right in the Jordan. So great section, good pastries. Also visited the Scandinavian Embassy, which is another coffee shop in De Pijp near Little Collins. Had the best cinnamon rolls ever. And there was another one called Black and Blacker. And Black and Blacker was actually my favorite, just based off pastry quality, coffee quality, and vibes. It's just a shame that both times it's like right next to De Rijksmuseum. And it's just such a shame that he and I were both late to our museum reservations each time. So we were kind of in a hurry and didn't get to enjoy the atmosphere as much, but I highly recommend Black and Blacker and checking out that website and planning out your tour based on cafes, because Europe, you got walkable cities. Amsterdam for sure is a walkable city, and you can find cool things on the way between cafes and get your caffeine intake and your steps all at the same time. Number 5, space cakes and movies. Amsterdam, given weed is legal in Amsterdam, and of course you have to try it out. I was also sick on this trip. I got a pretty bad sinus infection on the 2nd or 3rd day, and what we would do usually is in the morning we do our museum stuff or whatever and get our coffee, and then it reaches about 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. and you're kind of just waiting for nightlife stuff to happen, so we take like a nice little siesta. And if you have time on your trip, just be sure to visit the Bulldog. The Bulldog is the first coffee shop. Coffee shop is in like where you buy your weed. Cafes you buy coffee, coffee shops you buy weed. It's a weird thing. I dig it though. And I got some mixed reviews on the space cakes and how strong they were. What me and my friend did was just split one in half each time, and usually it was like a nice mellow high. It wasn't that crazy of a high, but it did last for quite a while. So it is kind of a bit of a commitment. I recommend just chilling, go walk through a park with one. Depending on your tolerance, it's not gonna do too much to you. And finally, number 6, rent a bike and ride around. I cannot stress enough that the biggest enjoyment I had on this trip and the way I got around most of the time was on a bike. Amsterdam their biking infrastructure is just so phenomenal, and you have to take advantage of it. If you don't, you're wasting an opportunity. I just rented a bike, as this is not a sponsored video. I wish it was. It's not a sponsored video, but I used Donkey Republic. You just download their app. If you're an American, you might have some issues with signing up with your phone number because of how American numbers work. Just give them a call and they'll work it out. Really great customer service too. Funnily enough, my bike's name was Snorlax. No, really, it was Snorlax. And so me and my trusty steed Snorlax, we just rode around. We would just pick a park or pick a point of interest and we would just ride to it. And they have like nice little cradles on the bikes to put your phone in, so you can kind of have it as like a navigational HUD while you're riding through the city. And just gotta be spatially aware, and a lot of people don't tell you that they're actually coming up on you or passing, so you just got kind of glance over your shoulder a little bit. But I had a blast riding my bike around. It's the easiest way to get around the city, I think, in my opinion, and it just helps you stumble onto things. I think that a lot of the tourist attractions actually I stumbled upon, like the big giant windmill, like the Goyer, I think is called, or something along those lines. Stumbled upon. Red Light District, stumbled upon. Didn't mean to go there, but ended up there anyway. I intended to visit it. The Red Light District is honestly not that big of a deal. I think it's completely overhyped or over spoken about, and to me at least it was really lame. Then again, we did go at like nighttime when it was snowing and bitterly cold, and I was very, very sick. So maybe I just have a skewed point of it. I didn't really enjoy the Red Light District. There was even like this cool Pokemon bridge that I crossed, which was like a bridge that went over like this canal that was built specifically for like bikes. That was super cool. Biking is just awesome, man. Just bike around the city. Amsterdam Oost is also really good for biking. Really, the city is just really good for biking, except for maybe as you get closer to the downtown area. I did bike around the downtown area, but that area, especially because of all the tourists who don't really know the biking rules and whatnot, and like whatever. It's the people who don't give a crap about the rules who you need to watch out for, because they don't. They really don't. But biking, super fun. Highly, highly, highly recommend. Most enjoyable part of the trip, hands down. Well, yeah, anyway, guys, that's it. Those are 6 things that if you ever find yourself in the lovely city of Amsterdam, that I think, maybe give it a try. Have you ever been to Amsterdam? Are you planning to go? Just let me know in the comments below. Did I miss anything maybe that enhanced your trip that, like, well, obviously we're not talking about super touristy things, but anything that I missed that was super cool you want to recommend in the comments, please leave it down there. If you want to see more travel stuff, hit that like button and subscribe, and otherwise, yeah, that's all I got.